Hey everyone, thanks for joining us on Play Games. My name is Lance, and today I'll teach you how to play Talisman Legendary Tales. This is a newer game by Pegasus Spiegel. It is a 1 to 6 player game that takes roughly 20 to 40 minutes to play, and is a fully cooperative game, so all the players are working together to defeat the game itself. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to play starting with components, setup, and player turns and in-game conditions. As always, if you find these videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider that like button, subscribe to my channel, as it really does make a big difference. It helps me to continue to grow and be able to produce these videos. And if you stay up to date on all my videos, also considering that bell, so you get notifications anytime I release new content. So let's head to the table, and I'll teach you guys how to play. There's one custom 6-sided die included in the game, and this is the travel die, with one side having 1 pip, 2 sides having 2 pips, one side having 3, one side having 4 pips, and an hourglass, which will advance your time track 1 space, and the final side having a portal, which will allow your hero to transport to any location on the map. There are a number of different tokens included in the game. First, there are 5 different adventures, and each adventure is going to have its own colored set of tokens, and these tokens are going to be broken down into 2 different types. You have the smooth border with a silver line, and the rough border or jagged border with a gold line. And usually the adventures are going to have you separate those into the 2 different types. And then each of these types is also going to contain both enemies and items, with the enemies displaying different icons that you must reveal in order to defeat that enemy. So the crow needs a magic hat, where the goblin needs a sword and a magic hat, and I'll go into this more in detail later on. There's also talisman tokens, and completing each adventure will gain you one of these, and before the adventure starts, the group is going to select the difficulty that they want to go on and place that talisman token next to the adventure board. To set up the reward bag, you're simply going to place the 24 reward tokens in there and shuffle them up. Each one of these reward tokens is going to be providing the players with all kinds of different icons, and all of those icons are detailed in the back of the rulebook on page 12. Each one of the adventures is going to have an adventure scroll, which is going to have a time tracker, and if your time token ever reaches the crescent moon, then the players have lost. You'll also notice that there's stars on some of these, and at the beginning of the game, you're going to choose the talisman level that you want to start with. So if you want to go on a level 2 adventure, you'll go and place your hourglass on that marker. And that just denotes the talisman you're going to get at the end of the game if you're successful, and the difficulty, as 1 star is very easy, 2 stars is about normal, and 3 stars is a little more challenging. Each of the adventure scrolls is also going to detail the adventure and what your objectives are, and this is double-sided, so when it tells you to flip, make sure that you remember where your token was, the last number. Then flip your board over and place your token on that number, and then continue reading the adventure. And there'll be different stopping points, different objectives and things you'll have to meet. If you are successful, then it'll tell you to claim the talisman and place it on your adventure track. For board setup, go ahead and choose an adventure you want to play, and the book recommends you starting with the first adventure and working your way through, but it is up to you as the players which one you want to go on. So I'm going to go ahead and set up for the very first adventure, so I'm going to check the Book of Adventures and lay out the tiles according to that, as you can see here on the diagram. And you're also going to place out the adventure scroll, and you can have one player read the description on that as well to kind of set the mood and tell you what you're going after. Then you're going to choose the difficulty level that you want to play, what talisman number you want to go after, as there is 1, 2, and 3 level stars. I'm going to go ahead and play the level 2 and place the time tracker on that spot. Next, according to the mission you've selected, you're going to take your tokens, so I'm going to use the blue tokens for this mission, and separate them into the jagged edge and the smooth edge. The jagged edge will be set off to the side and will be used later on. The smooth edge will be shuffled up, and then again the adventure book is going to outline where to place these. So I'm going to have 2 up in the pool, I'll have 2 on the castle, 1 on the caves, forest, and ruins, and then 2 in the graveyard and 2 in the hidden valley. You're also going to want to place out the travel die, and the bag of rewards will go out where the players can reach it. Finally, then you'll move into player setup. For player setup, each player is going to choose a character they want to be and collect that character's bag and make sure that the bag contains the 7 different tokens for that character. And each character is going to have a breakdown of the tokens that are going to be in their bag on the sideboard of their card. For example, the dwarf, he has 3 swords, 1 hat token, 2 hourglass tokens, and 1 magic bag icon token. Each character is also going to have a special ability which you should read out loud to the group so everybody's aware of what it is. And then you choose to be either a male or female character of that type. and that your card is double-sided as well to match up with that. And in my game, I went ahead and set up for 3 players. So I have an elf, a warrior, and a dwarf, and the mission is going to tell you where to start and place your player figures. And for this, I'm going to lay these flat so you guys can see where my players are at. From here, you'll choose one player to be the starting player, and you're ready to move into the game. Talisman Legendary Encounters is played over an undefined number of turns, starting with the first player and proceeding clockwise. During each player's turn, it's broken down into 3 phases: the travel phase, encounter phase, and collect rewards phase. And the players are going to continue taking turns until either they complete the adventure they're going on, or the time tracker reaches the crescent moon. At that point, then night has fallen and the evil forces have become too powerful and the players have failed. To start the game, you're going to choose one player to be the starting player, and the rulebook suggests the youngest player, but you can choose some other method if you want to as well. For my game, I'm going to have the dwarf player be the starting player, and so moving into his turn, it starts with the travel phase. During the travel phase, you're going to either choose to stay at your current location or travel. If you wish to travel, you're going to roll the travel die, and you will get to move that number of spaces. Now, once the die is rolled, you can choose again not to move. You can stay at your current location, but if you wish to move, you can move to adjacent locations up to that number of spaces, always following the light path connecting one tile to another. You can never move off of the game board, so off of areas that do not lead to another tile, and you can never move to tiles that are not connected by that light path. As you move, you can move through tiles that have other heroes or face-down tokens, but if you move onto a tile that has a face-up token that is an enemy, then you have to stop there immediately. But we didn't, so our dwarf is going to move 1, 2, 3 spaces and stop here. Now there are a couple of symbols on the die as well. There's the portal symbol, so if you roll that, you can move anywhere on the map that you want to. So with that, if our dwarf was here, he could choose to go all the way up to the fairy pool if he wanted to. It is totally up to you as the player. The other symbol on there is the hourglass. So if this one comes up, you first have to advance the hourglass marker 1 space on the track, and then you can move up to 4 pips. Once you finish your move, if you're at a location that has face-down tiles, you're going to flip those face up and reveal them. Now, the one other thing that I do want to point out that I didn't cover earlier is when you start your move, if you start your move in locations that have face-up enemies, you still are able to move away from them to begin your move. But if you move into a space that has face-up enemies, then you have to immediately stop. The second phase in a player's turn is the encounter phase, and this phase will be resolved if the player has 1 or more face-up enemies at their current location. In order to resolve this, the player is going to draw 3 random tokens from their bag, and each one of those tokens is going to show 1 or more icons that the player can spend to defeat enemies. So let me show you an example of this with the dwarf player. Let's go ahead and draw 3 tokens from the bag. So the first one is a magic hat. The second is a magic pick. And the third is a sword. So with the magic pick, you can choose either your bag or someone else's bag to draw another token from. So I'm going to go back into my dwarf's bag and draw another token from him. And it's another sword. So at this point, then you can choose to use these icons. Each one can only be used once to defeat 1 or more enemies. So I'm going to go ahead and spend the 2 swords to defeat this wild boar and remove his token from the board. Any tokens you use are going to be kept face up in front of your player and kept out of your bag. Now, your bag is always open information, so you can always choose to look at the tokens that are remaining in your bag at any time, but before you draw, you have to mix them up again. And in order to add tokens back to your bag, before you draw or before another player draws from your bag, you can choose to add all of your tokens back to your bag. You are not allowed to choose to add only some of the tokens. You must add all tokens that are out back to your bag. The one other important note is that we do have the herbs here, and this is one of the objectives for our players. When you have an item like this at a location and no enemies, then you get to collect that item and it'll be added to the adventure scroll. I would also like to point out that you're going to have a couple of other icons in your bag. The first is the time tracker. So just like with the die, you'll move the time track up 1 space for each one of these you draw. And the other one is a time track and fate token. So with this one, you will move the time tracker up 1, and then this one will let you draw another token immediately from the bag. Now with these two options here, the Fate and the Magic Bag, these are optional. You do not have to resolve these if you don't want to. If you've already gotten the icons you want and you know what else is in your bag and you don't want to draw it, you do not have to use those icons. And the final phase in a player's turn is collecting rewards. If you've defeated one or more enemies, you're going to get to draw rewards from the bag based on the number of enemies you defeated. So you'll get to draw one reward for each enemy you defeat from the rewards bag. With the dwarf player, he does have a special ability that says that if he draws one or more rewards, he gets to draw one extra, and then he'll return one reward. So he will draw two and choose one to keep. All right, so these are the two he drew, and so he's going to choose one of these to collect. So he'll keep the helmet and give the gnome back to the bag. Now for each reward that you collect, you can either add it to your bag or another hero's bag immediately. As this is a magic hat and a time stopper, this is one that the dwarf player could definitely use, as he's only got one magic hat in his bag currently, or in his token collection, so he's going to add this one to his bag. But again, like I said, you can add this to any hero's bag, in this way helping each other out to build up your different tokens in your bags. From here, I'm going to take you through some more example turns, and I'll move over to the next player in clockwise order. At this point, you know all of the rules that you need to for the game, so if you've got a good grasp of it, you're ready to move on and play your own adventure. Otherwise, let me go ahead and move on. So my warrior is going to go next, and he is going to move, so he's going to roll the travel die. And he rolled a 4 as well, so he's going to do that. And he's going to move 1, 2, 3 locations up to the castle and stop there. And he has a crow and some more herbs. All right, so we have found our second one. We just need to defeat the crow. So he's going to go ahead and move into his encounter phase and draw from the bag. He gets to pick from another person's bag a time token, so he's going to move that up again. Oof. And the final token is a sword, and he gets to draw another token immediately from his bag. And it's another sword, so he can choose to draw from another bag or his own. And at this point, he's got 2 magics and 1 more time, so he's going to go ahead and draw again. And he does pull that magic, so he has defeated the crow, and we'll move that from the board. He gets to claim the herbs, and he will also get a reward in the 3rd phase. So let's go ahead and draw that. And it is a sword and another draw. So he is going to pass this along to the elf to add it to her bag. From there, his turn is over, and I'll move over to the elf's turn. So she's going to go, and she will move as well. And she has a portal, so she can go anywhere she wants. So she's going to teleport up to the fairy pool and flip over those. So we have 2 enemies that are both swords. So then she's going to draw from her bag during the encounter phase. Maybe we'll get lucky and draw that new token that we pulled. There's a sword, a time token, and she draws another token for it. Another time token. Ooh, man, our characters are having a rough time here. A magic item, so that will take care of those 2. So she's only able to defeat 1 enemy, so she'll choose this one and remove it. Then she's going to go ahead and draw a reward. And she has the unicorn, so it's a 1-in-1 type of item, so she's going to go ahead and give this to the warrior. Then it's going to move back over to the dwarf player, who is going to move. So he's going to roll. And another portal, so he is going to teleport over here to the cave and flip this one over, and it is another set of herbs, so he has completed that objective. So at this point, we'll mark where we left off on the 6. We get to clear these and flip this over. So with this one, we'll place it back up on the 6, and it's going to have us try to get to the fairy pool. So if at least one of you must reach the fairy pool, which we currently have a person there, but we still have to clear all the enemies away from it. So then at that point, then it'll move over to the next player, as there is nobody to encounter here, and he doesn't get to collect a reward. So moving on to the warrior, he is going to move. Man, those portals are hot right now. So he's going to move up here to help the elf out. And during the encounter phase, he is going to add these back into his bag to add those, and then he'll draw 3. So we have a sword, a magic pole, and a sword and another token. And I'm not going to pull any additional from any of these and resolving any of these other effects. So I will defeat the rats. I get to take a token as a reward. And it is a gnome. And so I'm going to add this to the elf's bag. From here, then I did meet the requirements for this, so then I'll continue following the rules on that and going through that. Now, like I said, the game is going to end in one of two ways. Either the time track is going to reach the crescent moon and then the players are all going to lose, or you're going to complete all of the different objectives for the mission that you're going on, and then you'll get to claim the talisman and you've won the mission. Well, I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, leave those in the comments section below and I'll do my best to answer them. If you found this video helpful, if you enjoy what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel, as it really does make a big difference. It helps me to continue to grow and produce these videos. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch my videos and leave me feedback on them. I do really appreciate it, and I take into account everything you guys say to make the best possible videos. And if you're interested in any other videos, I have a couple links up in the top corner here, so check out some of my other stuff and let me know if there's anything that you guys would like to see. Until next time, I'll see you later.